The ice groaned beneath the Europa research station as another tremor rippled through the moon's frozen crust. Dr. Maya Patel adjusted her thermal suit settings, watching as her team's drilling equipment carved deeper into the ancient ice sheet. After 18 months of excavation, they were finally approaching their target, an energy signature unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. Core temperature increasing, Chief Engineer Marcus Rodriguez announced from his monitoring station. Whatever's down there, it's putting out some serious heat. Maya nodded, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic readouts floating before her. She'd spent the last 5 years convincing the International Space Agency that there was something artificial buried beneath Europa's surface. Now, 3 billion kilometers from Earth, they were about to prove her right. Movement in the substrate, Security Officer Kai Chen called out, his hand instinctively moving to the weapon at his hip. Multiple structural anomalies appearing below the drill site. The drilling platform's lights flickered as they breached the final ice layer. Maya felt her breath catch as the cameras revealed what lay beneath, a vast chamber, perfectly preserved in the ice, its walls lined with technology that seemed to pulse with its own inner light. "My God," Rodriguez whispered, his usual skepticism forgotten. "It's a facility. An alien facility." Maya's team worked quickly to establish a secure entrance through the ice. As they descended into the chamber, their lights revealed more details of the alien architecture. Crystalline spires stretched up into the darkness, their surfaces covered in writing that seemed to shift and change as they watched. "These markings," Maya said, running her scanner over one of the walls. "They're not just decorative. They're responding to our presence." "Doc," Kai's voice was tense. "You need to see this." In the center of the chamber, suspended in a field of shimmering energy, stood a transparent sarcophagus. Inside, a humanoid figure floated in what appeared to be some kind of stasis field. Its skin was a luminescent silver blue, its long hair a deep violet that seemed to move in an invisible current. Maya approached carefully, her scientific mind racing to catalog every detail. The being appeared female, her features both alien and eerily beautiful. She wore what looked like ceremonial armor, its surface decorated with the same shifting symbols they'd seen on the walls. "Life signs detected," Rodriguez reported, his instrument struggling to make sense of the readings. "But they're strange. It's like she's both here and not here at the same time." Maya studied the control panel near the sarcophagus. The symbols there were clearer, more defined. "This looks like some kind of stasis chamber. Based on the decay rate of the power cells, it's been active for..." She double-checked her calculations. "At least 500 years. 500 years. Kai whistled. "That's one hell of a nap." As Maya moved closer to the sarcophagus, the symbols on its surface began to pulse with increasing intensity. The air itself seemed to crackle with potential energy. "Dr. Patel," Rodriguez warned, "we're getting some unusual readings from..." Before he could finish, Maya's hand brushed against the sarcophagus's surface. A surge of energy rippled through the chamber, and every piece of alien technology suddenly blazed to life. The stasis field flickered, and the being inside opened her eyes, revealing irises of the deepest violet. The alien princess, for something in her bearing made it clear she was royalty, took a shuddering breath as the stasis field dissipated. Her gaze locked onto Maya, and when she spoke, her voice carried harmonics that seemed to resonate with reality itself. "The signal was true," she said in perfect English, though her mouth moved in patterns that suggested she was speaking a very different language. "A human has finally found us." Maya fought to maintain her scientific composure. "I'm Dr. Maya Patel. We're researchers from Earth. We've been studying the energy signatures from this facility for years." The princess gracefully stepped from the sarcophagus, her movements carrying an otherworldly elegance. "I am Nixera, last daughter of the Luminari. And you, Dr. Maya Patel, have just changed the course of your species' destiny." Before Maya could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Ancient security systems whirred to life, and the very ice around them seemed to tremble with awakening power. Multiple energy signatures activating throughout the facility, Rodriguez reported, his instruments overwhelmed by the sudden surge of activity. "Whatever was sleeping down here, Doc, I don't think it was just her." Nixera's expression grew grave. "He's right. My awakening has triggered protocols put in place centuries ago. Protocols designed to protect your people from what's coming." "What's coming?" Kai asked, his tactical training kicking in as he assessed potential threats. What are we dealing with here? The alien princess turned to Maya, her violet eyes seeming to peer into dimensions beyond human perception. The reason my people chose yours to find us. The enemy that forced us into hiding. And now. She looked up as the facility's systems continued to activate, ancient machinery humming with renewed purpose. Now they know we're awake. Maya felt the weight of scientific discovery giving way to something far more profound. They hadn't just found evidence of alien life, they'd awakened something that had been waiting specifically for humanity. As the facility around them pulsed with increasing power, she realized their mission of exploration had just become something far more significant. The 500 years of silence were over. The real question was, what would break that silence first, the answers they sought, or the ancient enemy that had forced these beings into hiding? Looking at Nyxera's expression, Maya had a feeling they were about to find out. Deep within Europa's ancient cryogenic facility, Dr. Maya Patel watched in fascination as Nyxera's slender fingers traced patterns across the crystalline control panels. The alien princess's silver-blue skin seemed to pulse with its own inner light, casting ethereal shadows across the frost-covered walls. Behind them, the research team worked frantically to stabilize the facility's rapidly fluctuating power grid. My people, Nyxera began, her voice carrying a melody that seemed to resonate with the very ice around them, were known as the Luminari. We were guardians of what you might call cosmic harmony, keepers of balance between the various species of the galaxy. Her violet eyes dimmed slightly as memories flooded back. Until the Void Heralds came. The facility's lights flickered ominously, and Chief Engineer Marcus Rodriguez cursed under his breath as another system overloaded. Dr. Patel, we're losing containment in sectors 3 through 7. Whatever she's doing, it's waking up the whole damn place. Maya turned to Nyxera, trying to hide her growing concern. You mentioned these Void Heralds. Who were they? The princess's expression darkened. They are beings of pure entropy, Dr. Patel. They exist to unmake creation itself. My people stood against them for millennia, until... She paused, her hand hovering over a particular symbol. Until they found a way to turn our own technology against us. Suddenly, the facility's warning systems blared to life. Holographic displays erupted from dormant panels, showing star charts and battle formations from centuries past. Maya watched in awe as the history of an entire civilization played out before her eyes, the rise of the Luminari, their golden age as peacekeepers, and their final, desperate stand against an enemy that seemed to consume light itself. The facility's defense systems are reactivating, Nyxera explained, her voice urgent. They remember the last moments before my preservation. They think we're under attack. Security Officer Kai Chen readied his weapon as mechanical sounds echoed through the corridors. Well, that's just perfect. Please tell me you can shut it down. It's not that simple, Nyxera replied, her fingers dancing across multiple control surfaces. The systems are tied to my genetic signature, but 500 years of dormancy has corrupted many of the command protocols. She stopped suddenly, her eyes widening. No. No, this isn't right. The facility shuddered, and Maya felt the floor vibrate beneath her feet. What's happening? The containment protocols, Nyxera whispered. They're not just defending against external threats. They're preparing to eliminate all evidence of our existence. Including us. Rodriguez's voice crackled over the comm system. We've got multiple energy signatures building throughout the facility. If I'm reading this right, and I really hope I'm not, this whole place is preparing to implode. Maya watched as Nyxera's composed facade cracked slightly, revealing the weight of centuries pressing down on her. My father, the princess explained, implemented a final failsafe. If the facility ever reactivated without the proper ceremonial sequences, it would destroy itself rather than risk our technology falling into the wrong hands. How long do we have? Maya asked, already calculating evacuation routes in her head. 20 minutes, perhaps less. Nixera's hands moved with increasing desperation across the controls. But there's something else. Something I don't understand. These readings, they suggest that my awakening has triggered a signal. A beacon that's been broadcasting into deep space. The implications hit Maya like a physical blow. Could the Void Heralds detect it? If they still exist? Almost certainly. Nixera met Maya's gaze, and in that moment, a silent understanding passed between them. Dr. Patel. Maya. There's something you need to know about why humans were chosen as our awakeners. Before she could continue, the facility's internal defenses sprang to life. Crystalline sentinels emerged from the walls, their ancient weapons powering up with a threatening hum. The team found themselves surrounded, backed against the central control platform. Okay, Kai said, his weapon raised but clearly unsure if it would have any effect against the ancient guardians. Now would be a really good time for one of those galaxy-spanning revelations about humanity's special destiny. Nixera placed her hand on Maya's arm, and an electric current seemed to pass between them. Your people, she said softly, carry within them a fragment of what made the Luminari strong. A spark we thought lost to the universe. But now I fear that in awakening me, we may have also awakened something far worse. The sentinels advanced, their crystalline forms refracting the emergency lights in beautiful but deadly patterns. Maya felt the weight of centuries pressing down on them, the echoes of an ancient war threatening to spill into the present. They had 20 minutes to prevent the facility's destruction, escape with their lives, and somehow prepare for the possibility that they just announced their presence to an enemy that had once brought an entire civilization to its knees. Maya took a deep breath, her scientific mind already racing through possibilities. Right then. Let's start with not dying in the next 20 minutes, and work our way up to saving the galaxy. She turned to Nixera. You said humans carry a fragment of your people's strength? Well, now would be an excellent time to tell us how to use it. The princess's violet eyes began to glow with an inner fire, and for the first time since her awakening, a smile crossed her face. Perhaps, she said, raising her hands as energy began to course between them, it's time for a practical demonstration. The sentinels moved closer, weapons charged, as the facility's countdown continued its merciless advance. Deep within Europa's icy shell, the battle for humanity's future was about to begin. The Europa research vessel, Horizon, broke through the moon's icy surface like a mechanical leviathan breaching the waves. Inside the bridge, Maya's team worked frantically to stabilize their ascent as warning signals blared through the ship's communication systems. Behind them, through the reinforced viewport, the research facility's self-destruction sent tremors through Europa's frozen crust. Nixera stood at the command console, her silver-blue hands hovering over the ship's controls with practiced grace. The demonstration of her powers in the facility had left everyone stunned, the way she'd merged with the ancient defense systems, turning the crystalline sentinels from enemies to escorts in a matter of seconds. But that display of strength had come at a cost. Even now, Maya could see the subtle tremors in the princess's shoulders. Multiple contacts. Kai's voice cut through the tension as he monitored the tactical display. Something's coming through the Jovian debris field. Energy signatures unlike anything in our database. Rodriguez wrestled with the ship's power distribution. Whatever they are, they're moving fast. Really fast. Intercepting course. Through the viewport, Maya watched as dark shapes emerged from behind Io's volcanic surface. The vessels were organic in appearance, their hulls seeming to absorb rather than reflect light. Her heart sank as she recognized them from the historical records they'd accessed in the facility. Void Heralds, Nixera confirmed, her voice tight with emotion. They've been waiting. All this time, they've been waiting. The alien ships moved with impossible grace, their formation creating a net that would soon envelope the horizon. Maya noticed how they seemed to distort space around them, like mobile holes in reality itself. They're not just ships, Nixera explained, sensing Maya's curiosity even in this moment of crisis. The Void Heralds exist partially outside normal spacetime. It's what makes them so difficult to fight, and why my people ultimately failed to stop them. The first energy blast from the Herald ships passed through the horizon's shields as if they didn't exist, grazing the hull and leaving a patch of metal that seemed to age centuries in seconds. Rodriguez swore as systems began to fail across the board. Our weapons are useless, Kai reported, frustration evident in his voice. The targeting systems can't get a lock. It's like they're there and not there at the same time. Maya watched as Nixera closed her eyes, her form beginning to glow with that same inner light they'd witnessed in the facility. There is a reason, the princess said softly, that humans were chosen as the key to my awakening. Your species possesses something unique in the galaxy, something even the Void Heralds cannot comprehend. And what's that? Maya asked, bracing herself as another blast rocked the ship. Possibility. Nixera's eyes snapped open, now blazing with energy. Your minds, your very existence, operates on a wavelength of pure potential. Where other species see fixed paths, humans see infinite choices. It's why you advance so quickly, adapt so readily. And it's why you're the only ones who can help me do this. She reached out and took Maya's hand. The contact sent a surge of energy through the scientist's body, and suddenly her mind expanded. She could see the Void Herald ships as they truly were, not vessels, but tears in the fabric of reality, trying to widen themselves enough to swallow everything into their entropy. Focus, Nixera commanded. See the paths, the possibilities. Where they see endings, see beginnings. Maya felt her consciousness merge with the princess's ancient knowledge. Understanding flooded her mind, the true nature of the conflict, the reason her species had been chosen, the potential that lay dormant in human DNA. Through their joined awareness, she could sense the rest of the crew experiencing the same revelation. Kai's tactical display suddenly came alive with new information as his enhanced perception revealed weaknesses in the Herald ship's dimensional shifting. Rodriguez found himself instinctively understanding how to modify the Horizon's engines to match the quantum frequencies of their attackers. They're surrounding us, Kai reported, but now there was excitement rather than fear in his voice. I can see their pattern. They're not just trying to catch us, they're trying to isolate us from normal spacetime. Then let's give them something new to think about, Maya said, her mind racing with possibilities that would have seemed impossible hours ago. Rodriguez, can you get us to these coordinates? The engineer grinned as he saw the numbers flash across his console. Doc, I think I can get us anywhere right now. The Horizon's engines pulsed with new energy as Rodriguez implemented modifications that seemed to come from both memory and imagination. The ship dove between two Herald vessels, its wake creating ripples in spacetime that disrupted their dimensional phasing. They're confused, Nixera observed, a note of wonder in her voice. Your adaptability, they've never encountered anything like it. Even my people's technology required centuries of development to combat them. Through their shared consciousness, Maya understood more of the truth. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't just their technology or their determination, it was their ability to imagine new solutions, to see possibilities where others saw only fixed outcomes. The Void Heralds, beings of pure entropy, couldn't comprehend a species that thrived on endless potential. As the Horizon danced through the Herald formation, each maneuver more impossible than the last, Maya felt something awakening in her DNA, an ancient gift left by the Luminari, waiting for humanity to reach this moment. They weren't just fighting for survival now, they were demonstrating why her species had been chosen as the key to a power older than the stars themselves. They're pulling back, Kai announced, watching as the Herald ships began to retreat. But they're not running. They're regrouping. Adapting. Let them adapt, Nixera said, her voice carrying both pride and concern. Now they know. Now the real war begins. Maya looked at her team, seeing in their eyes the same mix of fear and exhilaration she felt. They had survived their first encounter with humanity's ancient enemy, but this was just the beginning. As the Horizon set course for Earth, she knew they were carrying more than just an alien princess and the knowledge of an ancient civilization. They were carrying the key to humanity's true destiny among the stars. The Horizon's return to Earth sparked a global firestorm of activity. Military vessels from every major power converged on their position, their weapons trained on the ship until Nyxera's presence was confirmed by multiple international authorities. Now, 3 days later, Maya stood at the window of a secured United Nations facility, watching as delegates from around the world arrived for an emergency session. "Your people's leaders seem anxious," Nyxera observed, her silver-blue form reflected in the reinforced glass. She had traded her ancient ceremonial garments for a modern suit, though nothing could hide the otherworldly grace of her movements. "We're not used to finding out we're part of an ancient alien legacy," Maya replied, noting how the princess's presence had already begun to affect the facility. The plants in the corridor were growing at an accelerated rate, and several staff members had reported experiencing sudden bursts of insight or creativity. Kai entered the room, his tactical gear replaced by formal military dress. "The Chinese delegation just arrived. That's everyone." He paused, checking his tablet. "Also, our deep space monitoring stations are picking up unusual activity in the Kuiper belt. The heralds are moving. They're gathering their forces," Nyxera confirmed. "What you encountered near Europa was merely a scouting party. The main fleet, it will be beyond anything your world has prepared for." Maya turned from the window, her mind still processing everything they'd learned during their journey back to Earth. "You still haven't told us why your people chose humans specifically. What makes us so special?" Nyxera's violet eyes seemed to peer into dimensions beyond human perception. "Walk with me," she said, heading toward the facility's botanical gardens. As they moved through the corridors, Maya noticed how every electronic device they passed seemed to respond to the princess's presence, screens flickering with ancient symbols before returning to normal. In the gardens, Nyxera approached a simple flower, touching its petals with infinite gentleness. "The Luminari were not always as you saw us in those historical records," she began. "Once, long ago, we were much like you, curious, adventurous, filled with an insatiable desire to understand the universe. What changed?" Maya asked, watching as the flower seemed to glow under Nyxera's touch. "We achieved perfection," the princess said, a note of sadness in her voice. "Our technology, our biology, our society, we shaped them all into flawless systems. And in doing so, we lost something precious, the ability to evolve, to see new possibilities." Kai frowned. "But you were powerful enough to hold back the Void Heralds for millennia." "Through technology, yes. Through accumulated knowledge and carefully calculated strategies." Nyxera turned to face them fully. "But the Heralds, they are entropy incarnate. They don't just destroy, they unmake possibility itself. Our perfection became our weakness. We could not adapt, could not imagine new solutions. But you." She gestured to a nearby screen, which sprang to life with images of human history, cave paintings to space stations, stone tools to quantum computers. "Your species exists in a constant state of becoming. Where we sought perfection, you embrace imperfection. Where we built systems to eliminate uncertainty, you thrive on it. Your minds." Maya felt a familiar tingle as Nyxera established a light telepathic connection, sharing glimpses of how she perceived human consciousness. It was like looking at a kaleidoscope of infinite possibilities, each thought branching into countless potential futures. "The Void Heralds cannot predict you," Nyxera continued. "They cannot calculate your actions because you yourselves don't know what you'll do until you do it. This gift, this beautiful chaos of potential, it's written into your very DNA." "Written?" Rodriguez had joined them, still wearing his engineer's coveralls despite the formal occasion. "You mean?" My people visited Earth many times during your species development, Nixera confirmed. We saw your potential, and we enhanced it. Not by changing what you were, but by amplifying what was already there. The spark of infinite possibility. Maya's scientific mind raced with implications. The myths of gods and magic, sudden leaps in human development. All echoes of our interactions, Nixera nodded. But we did more than just guide your evolution. We left safeguards. Technology hidden in your solar system, waiting to be activated. Power that could only be accessed by minds capable of seeing beyond the obvious, beyond the perfect. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. Kai's tablet erupted with notifications. Multiple contacts, he reported, his enhanced perception already processing the tactical data. The Herald fleet, they're not just gathering anymore. They're accelerating toward the inner solar system. How long? Maya asked, already knowing she wouldn't like the answer. At their current speed? Less than 72 hours. Nixera's expression hardened with determination. Then we have work to do. Your world's leaders need to understand what's coming, and what they must do to unlock the legacy my people left for you. As they hurried toward the emergency session, Maya felt the weight of centuries pressing down on her shoulders. Humanity had been chosen not for their perfection, but for their beautiful imperfection, their endless capacity to imagine, to dream, to see possibilities where none seemed to exist. Now they just had to prove the Luminaries' faith in them wasn't misplaced. They had 3 days to unite a divided world, activate ancient technological systems they barely understood, and prepare for battle with an enemy that existed partially outside of reality itself. Maya smiled despite herself. If any species could pull off something so impossibly ambitious, it would be humanity. After all, impossible was just another word for something they hadn't figured out how to do yet. The orbits of Mars and Earth were alive with activity. Every operational spacecraft humanity possessed had been repurposed, retrofitted with technology based on Nixera's knowledge. The combined space forces of Earth formed a defensive line unlike anything in human history, but Maya knew it wouldn't be enough. Not against what was coming. She stood on the bridge of the upgraded horizon, now serving as the command center for humanity's defense. The ship had been transformed by a combination of human ingenuity and Luminari technology, its hull now rippling with the same ethereal energy that seemed to flow through Nixera's veins. The quantum beacon network is online, Rodriguez reported from his enhanced engineering station. All 7 sites are responding: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. Whatever your people left behind, Princess, it's waking up. Nixera nodded, her form seeming to flicker between dimensions as she channeled more of her power. The beacons were designed to create a resonance field throughout the solar system. But they require human minds to direct them. Your capability to imagine possibilities is the key to their power. On the tactical display, Kai tracked the approaching Herald fleet. Their ships moved like a cancer through space, leaving reality itself distorted in their wake. First wave will make contact in 17 minutes. We're looking at over 1,000 vessels, and those are just the ones we can detect. Maya watched as the combined forces of humanity took their positions. Russian antimatter cruisers flanked Chinese quantum destroyers, while European and American carriers launched swarms of fighters equipped with probability-altering weapons. It was remarkable how quickly the nations of Earth had united in the face of this threat. The beacons are reaching critical resonance, Nixera announced, her voice carrying harmonics that made the air itself vibrate. Maya, it's time. The network needs a focal point, a mind capable of seeing all possibilities at once. Maya took her position in the newly installed neural interface chair. They had tested this system repeatedly over the past 72 hours, but this would be different. This would be everything. Initiating quantum sync, Rodriguez called out. Neural pathway stable. Ready when you are, document. Maya felt Nixera's consciousness brush against her own as the interface activated. Suddenly, her awareness expanded beyond the confines of the ship, beyond the limits of normal spacetime. Through the beacon network, she could sense every human mind in the solar system, each one a blazing point of infinite potential. The Herald fleet struck like a tide of entropy given form. Their weapons weren't just destructive, they erased things from existence, unmaking matter and energy alike. The first line of Earth's defense disappeared in seconds, ships aging millennia in moments before crumbling to cosmic dust. But humanity wasn't fighting alone anymore. Through Maya's expanded consciousness, guided by Nixera's ancient knowledge, the beacon network pulsed with power. Every human mind connected to the system became a generator of possibility, their combined imagination creating waves of pure potential that crashed against the Herald fleet's entropy field. It's working! Kai exclaimed, watching as the Herald ships began to falter. Their dimensional phasing is destabilizing. They can't maintain coherence in the possibility field. Maya barely heard him. Through the neural interface, she was everywhere at once, seeing through millions of eyes, thinking with millions of minds. She saw fighter pilots instinctively knowing exactly where to strike, engineers making impossible modifications in the heat of battle, commanders orchestrating strategies that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. The Heralds responded with overwhelming force, concentrating their entropy weapons on the beacon network. Pluto's beacon went dark, then Saturn's. The strain on the system intensified, threatening to overwhelm Maya's consciousness. Hold on, Nixera's voice echoed through her mind. Remember, your strength isn't in perfection. It's in adaptation, in seeing new paths where others see only endings. Maya pushed deeper into the connection, drawing on humanity's greatest gift, the ability to imagine something new. Through her, the collective creativity of the human race flowed into the ancient Luminari technology, transforming it into something that had never existed before. The remaining beacons pulsed with new energy, no longer just defending against the Heralds but actively reshaping reality around them. Where the entropy weapons sought to unmake existence, human imagination rewrote it, creating possibilities faster than they could be erased. Multiple Herald ships are breaking formation, Kai reported, his voice distant through Maya's expanded awareness. They're retreating. Through the neural interface, Maya felt the truth. The Heralds weren't just retreating, they were being fundamentally altered by exposure to concentrated human possibility. Their very nature as agents of entropy was being challenged, transformed by contact with minds that could always envision another way. The final battle unfolded across multiple dimensions, visible to human eyes only as flashes of impossible light and waves of reality-bending energy. When it was over, the Herald fleet had vanished, not destroyed but changed, their entropy dispersed by the power of infinite possibility. Maya emerged from the neural interface slowly, her mind gradually returning to normal spacetime. She found Nixera watching her with an expression of pride and wonder. Your people, the princess said softly, have exceeded even our highest hopes. You didn't just use our technology, you transformed it into something new. Something neither the Luminari nor the Heralds could have imagined. Around them, the solar system was changing. The activated beacons had awakened more than just defensive systems, they had unlocked the full legacy of the Luminari, adapted and enhanced by humanity's unique perspective. Ancient cities were emerging from dimensional pockets, new technologies were integrating with human innovations, and the very fabric of spacetime around Earth was rippling with creative potential. So what happens now? Maya asked, still adjusting to seeing the world through normal eyes again. Nixera smiled, her form now permanently flickering between dimensions, a bridge between the old and the new. Now your species takes its place among the stars. Not as our successors, but as something entirely new. The age of perfect order is over. The age of infinite possibility has begun. As the sun rose over Earth, visible through the horizon's viewport, Maya watched humanity's first steps into a future that no one, not even the Luminari, could have predicted. They had faced extinction and emerged transformed, proving that the greatest power in the universe wasn't perfection or entropy, but the simple, wonderful human ability to imagine something new. The 500 years of silence were over. The song of human possibility was just beginning.